Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Okay, well, I think the first like real thing when we look back and watch this, or if we post this, just talk about Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, dude, that guy
Posting this,
is.
talk. We just wanna share our thoughts on. I mean, I think he's probably
I just posted
top
on
five
I just posted on Twitter,
greatest player ever.
like, dude, how much time do you spend watching this team play? Do you think?
Quite a bit.
Quite a
I
bit. I
mean,
I mean, I
I
know I
watched
do. I
majority of all
spend
of their games.
I
Yeah.
probably spend at least an hour, on Twitter a day, like posting random stats about this dude. Like I I spend so much time watching these games and it like kind of seems silly sometimes, honestly. But dude, it is so worth spending all of this. I was tweeting it.
Yeah.
It's so worth spending an unnecessary amount of time
Yeah. And
watching this
just to
dude play
give
basketball.
background, like we've been Nuggets fans since we were little. Like grew up in Colorado
Literally,
Springs.
yeah, our whole
Just
lives.
had a Carmelo Anthony fat head on our wall, full life size. I think that can't go unsaid. We
Yeah.
Allen Iverson poster in the basement while we shot hoops on our mini hoop, watching every Nuggets game growing
That's
up.
so funny. I literally wrote about that story how like we would watch Nuggets games and they'll go recreate them in our basement like every single night.
I used to
It's
tell
so
myself
fun.
when I was shooting free throws in our basement, I was like, if I was as strong as Kenyon Martin, I would never miss free throws. And he always missed his freaking free throws. And I was like, it's
Dude,
not that
there
hard,
was
dude.
nothing more stressful than watching that guy shoot free throws.
He had some of the best dunks and the best height plays and the best blocks. But him
Dude,
shooting a free
that
throw.
was a really fun team to watch, but like they never won anything. They got out of the first round like one single time.
Yeah.
And I remember, that one season where they got to the Western Conference Finals. Do you remember watching that year very well?
Yeah. I remember like being, I don't know, what year was that? 2011?
Um, I think it was
2012?
I think it was even sooner maybe.
2010. It was 2010.
Or yeah, 09-10 I think was the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I would have been 12, 11 or 12. And
Yeah.
I just remember, I think our friends, like mom's friends came over and it was after the Lakers had beaten them in a game. And I think Derek Fisher had just made some stupid, stupid shots to ice it. And
Derek Fisher,
I
man.
just remember being so mad. I was so mad. And yeah, the passion's always been there for this team somehow. And I don't know. It just it's
Dude,
crazy that Jokic is on our team. It's just crazy.
I think that's what makes it so satisfying though. You like go back and for people who are lifelong Denver fans, it's like you watched this like phenom player come in and he was supposed to like come in and like win championships with your franchise and he was I mean, I love Carmelo. Like he was so fun to watch. But like I mean, I think they got out of the first round one time all of those years and we were hooked. Like we still like we were Nuggets fans through that whole thing.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I think it's just there's something like so satisfying about being a fan of a team your whole life and going through all of those just ups and downs and like frustrations and like a lot of times I like wanted to stop watching after Carmelo left. Like I didn't
Yeah.
I was so depressed after that. I didn't even want to watch them for like a couple
Hmm.
years. And I
It was
remember I
good
remember
though.
they drafted like Nurkic and I'm like,
We
dude,
had
who
we
is
had
this
the
guy?
Ty Lawson we had the Ty Lawson
Yeah,
years,
yeah, those were
which
good.
was still fun.
Yeah, they
Like
were
I
fun.
remember the game when he hit 10 threes.
Oh
Like
yeah, I remember those. I
I
remember
I think
that
about that
dunk.
now.
Remember that dunk he had in the playoffs
Yeah.
that one year where, dude, yeah. I mean, they were fun, but like it
Kenneth
was just
Fareed,
casual.
Ty
It was just
Lawson.
casual watching
Rudy
for a few
Fernandez
years.
behind the head pass.
Oh,
Remember that pass?
that's way throwback, man. Rudy
That was
Fernandez.
after Melo, wasn't it?
I don't remember
I
what
think it
year he
was.
was.
I think it was. Linus
Rudy
Kleza, one of
Fernandez.
our favorites.
Oh, Linus Clay's a
I
top
remember
top 10
watching him
nugget
drop
ever.
a 40 piece on
Our
against
Nuggets memories are
41.
like the exact same.
Yeah.
'Cause
I mean,
I was about to say, remember when he scored 40 points against the
yeah.
Timberwolves? It's
Just
hilarious.
just nobody will ever. Sometimes I see people on Twitter that those posts that say, think of the most random NBA player.
Shout out to Bobby Meyer on
Have you
Twitter.
seen those?
Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
I mean, I literally comment Linus Clay's at every time. I always
Linus Clay's,
Linus
yeah.
Clay's. It's him. That's the most
Um,
random player I can think of, and he was awesome. Birdman, dude.
yeah.
Nene,
But
you got to have a cool like you tell us about the you had a substitute teacher that like
oh
loved you
yeah,
guys
yeah, yeah.
and brought you like
That's right.
back
Yeah,
to meet the
my friends and
players.
I, we had this like bucket list that we created when we were in high school. We had, like 100 things we wanted to do before high school ended. And there was a bunch of stupid stuff on the list, and one of them, we actually were trying to do a lot of them. We were like getting together every weekend and planning out how we were gonna do all of these things on our list, and it was really fun. But one of the things on our list was to go to a Nuggets game and get like like not locker room passes, but like VIP passes and meet the players. And so we had this substitute teacher named, what was her name? Man Mangino. Miss Mangino was her
I
name.
can't remember. I did have her
It was
too.
Mangino, yeah, it was Mangino, and so she was married to an assistant coach on the Nuggets. I don't I don't remember who he was. I'm guessing Mangino.
Wasn't he the trainer, a physical trainer?
He was something, yeah. He was
I
like a
can't. It
trainer or
doesn't
something, but
matter.
he worked
Yeah.
for the Nuggets and he was on their staff, and uh, we were like her favorite students, and so every time she came and subbed, we're like, "Hey, we're huge Nuggets fans. Like, you should get us tickets to the game or whatever." Just joking around. And one day she came into class and she pulled my friend Jason aside and she's like, "Hey, you have four buddies that want to go to the game with you." She had like, I think she had four tickets in total. She's like, "You have four people that would want to go to this Nuggets game. I have tickets." And so he's like, "Yeah, like my buddies are all huge fans. Like we would totally want to go." And so we drive to the game. So we go to her house. We meet her at her house. We drive to the game in her car, and we pull up into the players' parking lot. So they actually have a separate parking lot just for the players where they
And
go
I
and park
remember
their
you showing us
cars.
pictures of their cars
Yes,
that you.
yeah. So Nene had this like souped up Hummer. It was like a super huge, just souped up like
Big.
raised Hummer. Birdman had some crazy
Yeah, I was
raised
gonna
like,
say Chris Anderson had some crazy big
yeah, I
car.
think he had like spikes on it or something. Like just so classic. Mello had a Camaro, just a super slick like Camaro, and so we just saw all the
Yeah,
players' cars
fits
there,
him perfectly.
and we didn't really know what to expect. And she's like, "So yeah, we're gonna go in where the players go in, and we're freaking out, we're losing our minds, and so because we're going into like the VIP entrance where all the players are." She takes us into the waiting room where all the players' wives and like coaches' wives meet before the game. They just kind of hang out there, and we just eat a bunch of snacks, and we're talking to the wives of I can't remember whose wives were in there. There were a couple of them that were in there that we talked to, and so yeah, we were just chilling in this VIP section. We ended up going in, and we had like courtside seats to the game, and we ended up meeting the players after the game. We got signatures from Ronaldo Balkman. You remember Ronaldo Balkman?
I
He
haven't
was
caught
like one of
up.
he was like one of the only guys that actually waited around and talked to us. But Miss Mangino's like, "I really want to let you guys meet Carmelo." And so we waited for like an hour until he was done with media and everything and came out of the locker room, and he came out, and my friend Jason like walks up to him and he goes, "Man, you're my biggest fan." He said to Carmelo, and Casey Nixon's like, "Bro, I like your watch, man." He's like trying to be super like cool,
Cool.
and impress him, and Carmelo's like, "Yeah, yeah," and he just like signed, he just like did a little signature on our like on the back of like our ticket. It was like a paper ticket. He just signed it, and
Oh my gosh.
I remember I kept that thing in my drawer all throughout high school. Just
You're my biggest
his, like,
fan.
little signature. Yeah, you're my biggest fan. We made fun of him about that all the time. He also didn't know Chris Paul's name, and Chris Paul like we saw him walking out of the locker room, and he's like, Paul Clark, Paul Clark.
Remember that?
It's pretty funny, man.
Two first
Anyways,
names.
yeah, man. Just so,
The
like,
roots. Those are the roots.
So many
man.
roots, man. So many roots growing up as a Nuggets fan, going to games, just screaming at midnight, watching games together.
Oh. And
like,
yeah,
and that's the beauty of sports. Like, and that's the beauty of being a fan of sports is like the nostalgia of looking back on doing that with family and friends. And like, I've been trying to figure out why do I like sports so much? I don't really understand why sometimes. Sometimes it's like I probably should like focus on other stuff a little bit more.
I know.
It's just the beauty of nostalgia, and like friendship and family, and I don't know, man. It's something special.
I remember I posted, like, I made a whole social media post when the Nuggets won, and I don't like post on social media a ton. Like, I'm not like, I don't post as much as you do
like
on
SportShorts
or Instagram. But I just posted, like, I was so happy, and people who knew me and know me like understood how much I like this team. And I would have to always tell people I've been a fan forever. Like, look at this picture of me in the Nuggets jersey. So that first picture in my Instagram, photo was me in like 6th grade wearing a Nuggets jersey or a Nuggets t-shirt. Like, I've just been a fan forever. Yeah. And I posted in that, I commented, I said, I still remember Brendan coming in and waking me up at like 10:30 at night when I was like 8 or 9 and had to go to bed before, early. I had an early bedtime and I couldn't even stay up to watch the games. And you would always come up and tell me how they did, and half the time you'd be all angry, and the other half you'd be like,
frustrating times, man. Some frustrating times.
We shared a room growing up, so
I would wake you up and give him the lowdown. Before we had highlights and stuff, we would wake up in the morning and watch it on Sports Center in the morning and stuff, Yeah,
the little bar. We'd have to wait.
But anyways, like, so all of that background, led up to just a lot of just frustration and disappointment, right? And honestly, I didn't even watch the year that Jokic got drafted. I hardly watched any of that season. Yeah, I was in my first year of college. I was super busy. I didn't have a ton of time to follow them like I used to. And I started kind of following them. Just like I would check the box score after the games, and you start to see this, like, Jokic and Nurkic were like the two guys that everyone was talking about. Like, these guys are the future. And I remember just the first time, like, watching Jokic play, I'm like, what has this team come to? Like, I can't believe these are the dudes that are like the face of the Nuggets franchise. I'm like, what? This is absolutely embarrassing. That was honestly my first thought.
Yeah. No, I have a friend, Dalton Whaley, a fellow like family friend. Shout out Dalton. This has got to get to him. Another lifelong huge Nuggets fan. Yeah. Erica Whaley, huge Nuggets fan.
I think he follows me on Twitter, by the way.
Good. I want him to see this. Yeah. I think we should post this. I really do. Because I remember him saying, dude, this Jokic guy is good. Like, he's from Serbia. I think he's going to be really good. He called it. I know he did.
Yeah, I did not see it coming. I'm not going to lie. I was not one of the ones that saw it coming.
There's some people that did. I saw this on Twitter. Mike Miller, did you see that?
Yeah.
That was cool. He said,
he has a history.
In the corner? Who's the
He has a
fact checker?
history. Yes, he has a history of like being on Jokic's side, saying like this
Yeah.
dude's legit.
He told the front office, he said, that's your best player. He
That's
said,
so
what's he
cool,
talking
man.
about? How do you know? He says it's his hands. Every time the ball touches his hands, everything slows down.
Yeah,
Everything.
yeah,
And when that happens, like that's different. You
yeah.
see post players, their biggest struggle for post basketball players is
They
speeding up.
can't. Yeah,
They they
100%.
they try to dribble, they try to bring the ball down, they catch the rebound, they try to bring it down, secure it. No, you catch it, you have soft hands,
Yes,
you go back up with it, you know where it's going before you catch it. That's where Jokic is the best of all time. His
he's
hands.
the best hands of any athlete in any sport I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is that's actually the number one skill set that sets him apart from everybody else, and it's why it's Westbrook. It's so easy to play with him. Like I don't know
Because
if
he can throw these wild passes.
there's that play at the end of the fourth quarter. They were up by 6. Westbrook has a wide open three, and he knows like that's not a better shot than like getting the ball to Jokic. So he drives
Did you
into
post
3
about
people.
this?
Yeah,
I read
and
about this.
Worldwide Wild posted about it too.
Yeah, no, that's what it was.
Yeah,
I read his.
So Westbrook drives into 3 people. He just like throws it over his head, and he just knows if I get it even close to Jokic, he's gonna catch it and finish. It doesn't even have to be a good pass. I just have to get it into his hands close to the basket, and of course Jokic catches it like with 4 people on him and still lays it up.
Yeah.
And yeah, that skill set is just I don't understand how he does that. It's insane.
Yeah. And I mean, background too, like we grew up playing sports, everything. Basketball is
Both played
kind of
basketball
always,
in high school.
yeah, all through high school we played. And it's just always been like it's just always been probably our favorite sport. I mean, we also golf, which
Yeah.
is kind of up there too, but just with the team aspect of how much we enjoy the Nuggets and the success they've had,
It's
it just is like we have to document this, and that's what this is. Is like one day we're gonna look back and we're gonna talk about it for the rest of our lives.
absolutely.
Like
We'll
fully
be
okay.
60-year-olds talking about this dude and like thinking
Just
about all the
remember those,
insane games
yeah.
that we watched.
Remember those no-look passes to AG in the dunker spot, or his over-the-head slinging around 2 guys to MPJ in the corner. Like those plays just never get old.
I have literal chills.
Yeah, and we can't take it for granted, dude.
I
It's
know.
just too good. He's so good, and it's just
And
people are
dude,
starting to realize how good. I mean,
Yeah.
he's had 3 MVPs, so
it was
people know.
so validating though when he did finally win the championship. Right, it was so validating from a fan standpoint to go through all of that just frustration your whole life and like realizing before anybody else Jokic is literally the best player in the world. I remember in 20 I think it was 2019 where it was game 82, they were trying to get to the playoffs against the Wolves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That was
I remember
his breakout game.
that was the game I'm like this dude is on another level.
Yeah.
And even at that point I'm like this dude is probably a top 5 player in the league, and like no one was saying that then.
Yeah.
And then
Just some big guy in a good game.
obviously like the bubble year, people started recognizing him, and then that next year when he won his first MVP. Yeah, the year he won his MVP with Jamal out. That was literally the year he became the best player in the world, but people wouldn't admit it until after his championship run.
Yeah.
So it's been 5 years of him arguably being the best player.
Dude, they're one Anthony Davis buzzer beater away from maybe making the finals.
Yeah,
How much of a
100%,
momentum swing
I will
that
die on
shot
that hill.
was?
By the way, I will die on the hill.
It's one of the most clutch shots in NBA history.
It is. It
One
really
of
is.
the most clutch shots in NBA history, and that kudos to Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I could dive into that.
Catch and shoot,
But-
down by 2. If you miss, they lose.
Yeah, 2 seconds on
and
the clock. You don't have
one
any
shot.
time. You have to get a clean shot. I mean, Mason Pelosi absolutely blew up that switch.
Oh, you don't point, brother. You don't point.
You don't point. You
There's
don't
no reason
point,
to
man.
point. There's 2 seconds left.
And
You
then
can
he left
afford a
Jokic
two.
hanging. Left Jokic
You can
hanging.
afford a two. You cannot afford a three. You don't
No.
point.
I do think they were actually down one. I think they were down. Were they down two?
I think they're down two.
Oh my gosh,
Jamie, can you check that for me?
Jamie.
You get that
I'll
reference?
actually check. Yeah, I know Joe Rogan.
Okay.
I don't even want to watch that. I don't want to look it up.
I'll look it up.
Anyways, do you want to do a
Okay.
quick? Do you want to do a quick game breakdown?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that was a good overview of
Yeah,
kind of who we are,
I'll
where we
I'll
came
take
from.
some clips from it. I'll do some editing and maybe throw some clips in there when we're talking about certain things. I think that'd
Yeah.
be fun.
I like that. We can slowly give more in depth,
Yeah, yeah.
background.
We'll figure out
Into
a
our
good flow.
past.
It's I've never done this before, so it'll take some time.
No, I think this is good. Yeah.
All right. So Denver wins against the Sacramento Kings, 132 to 123 final score. Denver dominated this game from the beginning of the game to about halfway through the fourth quarter. They were up 25 points going into the fourth quarter. Starters should not have had to come back into this game, is my first takeaway. Like, I mean,
Jamal was in the game,
Jamal really
and he
sucked
was
in the fourth
tired.
quarter. He
Yeah.
missed like
He was just
four
tired.
consecutive shots. I think they gave up.
Missed easy floaters, easy. I
But like
mean,
going back to the beginning of the game, one thing. So the Kings have been playing super well. They're 10-1 in their last 11 games. They beat Boston. They beat some really good teams. After I think they had lost 5 straight, and then they went on to go 10-1. So they're probably the second hottest team in the league coming into this game. I think Denver's probably playing the best basketball of anybody right now. You could argue.
absolutely. No, they're the best.
Yeah, I
Right now,
mean,
they're playing the best.
did you see that stat that they haven't won a game by less than 10 points since December 22nd? It's been like 13 straight wins that they've won by double digits.
Well, they won by 9 tonight.
I know they blew it. They blew it. They were up by 25 going into the third.
Yeah, I think they were down by 1, by the way.
But
They lost by
just
2
like
in that game.
going through the players tonight, Russ was awesome. He was really good. He was like
Had-
2 for 7 from the free throw line in the first half.
Yeah, that
It
was
was-
weird. He still ended up having 14 in the first half or something.
Yeah. He had 14 in the first half. He only had 3 assists tonight, but he made 2 big threes in the first quarter when things were pretty close. Didn't turn the ball over a lot. Just was getting to the rim, finishing. He's continued to just be awesome. I can't believe how much I love Westbrook. I can't even believe it.
Dude, remember I did not
We were so hard on him at the beginning of the season, man.
Oh,
I hadn't posted a lot about him on Twitter, but like our texts back and forth at the beginning of the season were like, this dude is really bad at basketball.
I thought I was better than him at basketball.
Dude,
Gross.
it looked so bad.
Understatement.
I mean, he was like 2 for 20 on layups to start the year, for real. He was so bad, but I mean, obviously he fits well with Jokic, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. A big part of what's going on is just Peyton Watson and Julian Strother.
Yeah,
Jules.
yeah. Talk about P. Watt for a little bit.
I think Jules has got to be his name.
Jules.
I don't
Julian
know.
Strother is a long name to say, isn't it?
And most people say Strother.
Strother, you don't like
The other
the hard
announcers.
the hard
I think
th.
this is a good idea. I think if you watch on the Nuggets broadcast, good. I think it's good to get a different perspective. For some reason, my league pass always kicks me to the opposing team's broadcast,
Yeah, and you
which I
just
don't
leave it.
mind.
Yeah,
Some of them are really annoying, um, but it
we'll
kind
have
of
to
gives.
we'll have to rank the most annoying broadcast teams at
We
some
should.
point.
You should do that. That should be a Twitter post, and it
Yeah,
should go viral.
should go
Um,
viral. You
Peyton
never know with
Watson,
those.
man, he looks so good, and
How many blocks do you
led
think he had tonight?
only Julian Strother had a better
Yep,
plus minus than him. Julian
yep.
plus 14,
Dude, I'm
Peyton plus
telling you,
12.
I'll tell you what. Julian Strother looked good on defense tonight. Like actually
Yeah,
good. He looked
had,
actually good.
yeah,
There were
had
there
this
were three
steal,
or four plays
had
where
good steal in the second.
they were going at
It
him.
was.
They were switching on to Julian Strother in the second quarter, and he got a steal. He like held his ground. I think on the next possession, uh, and got a really good contest on the next possession. Like I mean, he's not a great defender, but he's not standing out as a bad defender anymore. And I think that's
Uh-uh.
the biggest thing for him.
Yeah, yeah, and and man, these guys like the Nuggets starting five is still probably the best starting five, especially when Jamal is
Yep.
playing
Yep.
Jamal basketball. I mean, look at this 20, MPJ 20, Jokic 35, Russ 18, Jamal 18, Christian Brown 21, Russ 18.
Yeah.
Come on.
The Christian Brown the last 5 games is 21 points on 8 of 14 shooting.
Dude, how did he get out of his slump? What did he do to get out of that?
He had that
I
really
want,
good game against Houston
I want
when
you
they
to
were
break
getting
that down.
they were getting blown out by Houston, and he was the only
And
one that was trying in that game.
yeah, and they still got blown out. They lost by a lot. I do think that is a good time as a basketball player to get your mojo
Getting a
back.
good rhythm. Yep.
Nothing really matters because you're getting blown out.
I don't know if
So
you
go
remember me saying
huck up some
this.
shots, be aggressive.
Yeah. Yep.
It works.
I don't know if you remember me texting you this, but I said at one point, I think Jokic is going to like not fake being injured, but sit out a couple games to try and get other people to get into a rhythm. This was after he scored like 40 points, like 5 out of 10 games, and he was just doing everything.
Yeah.
At one point, I'm like, dude, he knows he's doing too much. He's either gonna have a couple games where he just intentionally doesn't shoot, because
Which is
he
so
wants to get other
annoying.
people involved, and
Which shouldn't be the case. Yeah.
yeah, but
It's
but they were too reliant on him at the beginning of the season. Like
well, yeah, they
no one
are.
wanted to do anything. No one wanted to
Yeah.
shoot. No one wanted to drive. They were just like give the ball to Jokic every single time, and I think he was getting sick of it. I don't know if he actually faked sick or anything, but he sat
I
out.
don't think he did.
Obviously, didn't fake it, but it was really beneficial for the team that he
But
did.
it really is.
That's when it started to change.
And he missed 2 games for that cold
I
that
think
he
two
had.
games. I think 2 games. They
And
lost
so
to
I think
Boston. Lost to Boston, but played pretty well.
by like what, 8?
Well, they were tied with 7 minutes left to go in
Yeah.
that game,
Yeah.
and then
And those
they
are the kind of games too where you're not expected to win, so you go out,
exactly.
play confidently. That confidence should translate over. I do feel sometimes for Peyton Watson, Julian Strother. I think those are probably the only two. I think CB is close enough with Jokic. I think they're pals that
Yeah,
he doesn't get intimidated by Jokic, especially because have such good chemistry. But
yeah.
like, imagine Peyton Watson, Julian Strother, second, third year guys coming
Be
in
hard, man.
playing with the best player ever,
Yeah,
and expecting to finish these dimes that he's putting in your
I
hands.
know, man.
It's pressure. It's
And
actually
like
pressure.
getting his outlet passes and like being expected to finish them in
Yeah,
traffic and yeah, there's a lot of pressure on those guys. I think they've done really well though. Honestly,
yeah.
I think they started the season slow. I think Peyton Watson's like really leaning into defense. He's like really, really leaning into defense, and like that's what they need from him. And he's shooting he's shooting the three ball pretty well, even though I never think it's going in when he shoots it.
His shot just, I mean, it's not ugly,
Yeah,
but he's it's just he needs a little
shooting.
bit higher of a release, I feel like.
It's just slow, and it's
It's
like
it's just a low
it's not
like a
very
low
fluid.
set
Yeah,
shot that's I mean, Chris Marlowe calls them the spinners because he kind of flips his wrists at the end,
yeah.
and that's the point of a good jump shot is to do something repeatable
Yeah.
and do it the same way every time.
You
I
tell me this
think
a lot.
Julian Strother, if he can
This
get his
kid
feet,
has a perfect jump shot, by the way. It looks the same every time.
yeah, if he can get
And
his
mine
feet
is
set,
yes, exactly.
Julian, he just needs his feet set. The only times he's off is when his feet are
Yep.
doing the disco, like
He's
he
gotten
gets
better
his
though. He's
legs
gotten
all
better.
tangled up
He
and then
shoots
flings
it
them
he shoots it
in
really
air balls.
well when he like jumps and lands on 2 feet. He shoots the ball really well. When he like kind of steps into it, he shoots a way lower percentage.
What's
I was
your
gonna go.
do
Go
your
ahead.
last key takeaway, and then I have two key quick takeaways
Um,
that I want to talk about. I mean, I restrained from the actual game from tonight a little bit.
so
Good game.
I think
Yeah, I'm on the fourth.
my biggest takeaway is this is the best Denver has looked as a team since the middle of the
23.
22-23 championship
Yep.
season.
Yep.
They never looked this good last year. They
They were
never looked this dominant.
consistent. They were
They were.
consistent.
They won a
Just
lot of
not,
games last year, but they were
and dude,
never impressive. They were never like jump off the page impressive.
and dude, when the Nuggets looked the best, you can fact check me on this. I'm sure the numbers won't lie. Was when Vlatko was in the lineup in 22-23. He was a 15 to 18-minute game player, and they were playing just like this. They were playing amazing. Bruce Brown,
Dude,
KCP,
that's when we went to the
on
game.
fire.
They were in the middle of that really good stretch. We went to that game that year, remember? And Vlatko hit like three threes. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Was that the Heat?
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so, I mean, they won 57 games last year, but they never had like a really long stretch of dominant basketball. They just were consistent. Like they would win 2 out of 3 games
Yeah.
the whole season long. They have a chance to go on an insane run. Like their schedule over the next like up until the All-Star break, like they should be favored in every single
It's
game
not
they play.
bad. They have
Yeah.
a couple hard teams.
Minnesota's tough. At Minnesota's tough. At New York is tough. And those are their two.
They'll beat Minnesota. Mark my words. New York Knicks
I want that
scare
game
me.
bad.
Scare me. Karl Anthony Towns is
Dude,
the most underrated player
he's a nightmare matchup for Jokic.
in the NBA. He is the best matchup against Jokic in the world.
Jokic cannot guard him, and he has a hard time scoring on him too.
Yeah. It's because his weight.
Yeah, you're right. He's like the only one that's as like just chunky as Jokic.
Yeah.
He's
And
a
so
strong dude, man.
and I think Jokic hitting the threes that he's making this year.
Oh,
That
I could talk about this one for a while, but
yeah.
we'll do a different we'll do a different pod on breaking down last year and like why they failed because
Yeah.
I have a lot to say about that. I
Me
think there's a
too.
lot of reasons why they failed.
Me too.
Um,
Okay.
but
Here.
anyways, they look the best that they've looked. I'm high on them right now, really really
Oh
high.
yeah.
I think they
Best
can beat the
since
Thunder. I think they can beat the Thunder. I think they can beat Boston.
they'll beat
I think
Boston.
they can beat Cleveland. I think they can beat any of those teams.
Cleveland.
I really do.
Cleveland is going to be the hardest out of those three
Yeah,
teams
I
for
agree.
sure.
I agree with you.
They don't
But
match up super good against Cleveland. Donovan
no,
Mitchell goes off every
and
time. He plays.
Garland scares me. He's so quick, man.
So shifty. We just
Yeah,
need to get him on the free throw line with the game on the line. And
dude, that made me so mad.
oh, dude,
Oh,
we
that
need the
killed
Rockets
me.
to lose.
That killed me. All right, what's your hot take? What's your takeaway here?
I wanted to talk about how these young guys are going to play in the playoffs and translate, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. I want to talk about
It's
DeAndre
a good
Jordan.
question because I am a little nervous.
Yeah, Russ, I think, is in that category too.
Yes,
Although he's got all the
yes.
experience, like
Nervous,
amp,
nervous.
nervous, like adrenaline. He dribbles the ball off his foot and kicks it 3 feet
The
into the.
thing you have to know though is he's not going to play a single second without Jokic,
Yeah, he
and
can't.
he won't. He hasn't in like 10 games. So,
Okay,
anyways,
and okay, we'll get to that. We will, especially closer to playoff time. We'll have some fun conversations. DeAndre Jordan, is he good enough to be a backup center right now in a
uh,
championship team?
I don't think he's a playoff guy.
Well, he has to be,
Yeah,
and we
he's the only
we
guy on
have
the roster that's playable.
we have to consider that in all likelihood they will not trade anybody.
I think they need one more guy.
We've been praying for it. I'd give up my
Maybe even Vlatko.
firstborn for a
Maybe even
trade.
Vlatko. I mean, with them playing this well, it makes you think maybe they don't make a trade, and maybe that's not. Maybe they're playing good at the wrong time.
Yeah,
I'm a little nervous
yeah,
about that, honestly.
yep,
Because if they're
yep.
playing
Run out
super
of
good
gas.
up until the up until the trade deadline, which is like 3 weeks away,
Yeah,
and they're like, oh, we're good, and then they don't do anything to upgrade DeAndre Jordan, he's been really good this year, by the way.
yeah.
He's like
He's been
actually
good,
he's
not
actually been
great.
he's been like a -6 without Jokic.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not awful.
it's not -12
It's not as bad as Zeke, Najee. He's been
or
better than
Dario.
Zeke and Dario. Oh,
Smell my.
dude, Dario.
What happened to that guy? It looked like he'd been eating Oreos on the bench,
He texted
and
me the other day. I do not think that guy practices basketball.
I, it doesn't look like he practices. Like his rhythm is off. His like
Jeez.
when you're cold and you first start playing basketball, you get to the gym and it's like open gym, so you just kind of start. You don't get to warm up, and your first like few shots,
Yes, I
you
do.
miss by like 10 feet every time. Like that was him an entire game for the last 10 games that he's played.
Dude, he can't
I was
move.
so
He
excited
can't
too.
move. He can't move on defense.
It looks like his knees are made out of yarn. I, I don't know what it is, man.
Oh man, that's such a bummer. So, short
Um,
answer, I don't think they'll play DeAndre Jordan in the playoffs because I think Aaron Gordon will be their center in the playoffs.
dude,
I think the rotation is going to be starting five. I think Russ stays in the starting five. I
that was
think
another topic too.
I
I
think
don't.
Aaron
I
I think Aaron
disagree.
Gordon comes off the bench. Not in the playoffs. You can't bring him off the bench in the playoffs.
Yeah,
You need him
he's
defensively.
gonna start. He has to.
Oh,
I
I don't know
mean,
what they're gonna do. That's
dude,
stressful. That's stressing me out though.
this is what they have to do. Aaron Gordon. We all know he's told Coach Malone, "Listen, I'll sit," but
He doesn't want to sit.
you can't do that to him.
No.
He's your arguably on any given night second to third best player,
Yep. Second most
and
important player in my opinion.
yeah, importance.
Maybe not best, but important
Yeah,
because he's
yes,
the only guy that's a lockdown defender. Can guard
lockdown
2 through 5.
rebounder.
He can guard 2 through 5.
Yeah, he's just strong.
And
You need
he's
strength.
huge. He's just huge. He'll punish you on offense every
You
single
need
time.
to be able to bump somebody out of the lane to get a tip
Yep.
rebound to Jokic.
The Kings
Like,
have no chance. The Warriors have no chance. There's so many teams that have no chance
mm-mm,
if he's in the lineup at
mm-mm,
all. No chance
none.
at all.
I'm trying to think of any that are like the Minnesota.
Minnesota's still pretty big. Like
Yeah,
Rudy
we said that at the
really
same time, but Minnesota traded Cat. If I'm a Minnesota fan, I am
have a knife in my
cutting my
throat.
wrists. Edit that out. If I'm a Minnesota fan, I am so sad
I am
that They
I'm
traded a top
depressed.
5 MVP level player in Karl Anthony
He's
Towns.
literally fifth in MVP odds right now.
He is so good, and I still think he's
And
underrated.
how do you watch last year's playoffs and think that's the guy we get rid of?
And
I
think Julius Randle is the answer.
and
Although
I don't
Dante had a phenomenal playoff,
yeah. Yeah.
phenomenal. He hit
Yeah.
clutch shot after clutch shot. I
Well, he's
mean,
out for the year. You know that, right?
no.
Dante's out for the year. Well,
All right, not worried about Minnesota.
I guess maybe not out for the year, but he's out for like months, like a
What do
couple
we
in
do?
they said indefinitely. He hurt his big toe.
He pulled that groin again. He's always yanking on that groin.
Oh, brother.
Borderline, borderline.
Borderline.
Okay. Um,
Listen.
I'm not worried about Minnesota. I'm worried about. I'll tell you the teams I'm worried about: New York Knicks,
Yeah.
Cleveland, and OKC. That's it.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little worried about I don't like Houston. I don't like
Nah,
that matchup.
nah,
I don't
nah.
like that matchup.
Almost beat Houston. Oh wait, no. Did they lose by 20?
They lost, well, they didn't have Jokic.
I know,
Memphis is pretty good. They wouldn't beat Denver in the playoff series, but they're pretty good.
dude.
Healthy Dallas. Actually, I think
No,
that's probably
no.
well, Lively
I
might be out
disagree.
too. Lively might be out too now.
Who's guarding Jokic? Derek Lively? No,
Well, they've
no.
got the double big. They've got the double big lineup
PJ.
that has given him some Gafford and Lively. They did really good on him in at least one of those games.
You
But
see, Lou Dort got suspended or kicked out for grabbing
playing
PJ
playing
Washington's nutsies.
is that what he did? I didn't see why
Yeah,
he got ejected.
he literally full open hand swung right into his junk.
Dude, I there's not many people I like less than that fella,
I don't.
Lou
Yeah,
Dort.
he's becoming the Kansas City Chiefs of the NBA.
He's so aesthetically ugly to watch play basketball.
Yeah,
It's
he's
terrible.
like Jake View.
Yeah.
What
Jake
if he's
Vu's
like
this like
some
roided out kid we went to high school with.
and
What's
he
up,
was a
Jake
good
Vu?
football player, but he would just go in and bully ball and get 10 charges a game on him
Yeah.
and get fouled out every game.
All right, so let me read this off to you. This will be the last thing we do. Okay, so I'm gonna read off the next however many games until the All Star break, and you'll give me your prediction.
I made my prediction when you first posted, and it was 10 and 3. But tell me it again,
Okay,
and I'll
so
tell
we
you
have Wolves at
win,
Wolves win.
win,
Okay, at Bulls at Chicago
win.
win by 25.
Yes, Knicks.
At Knicks, they're
No,
gonna Knicks will get up for that game for
yeah,
sure.
they're gonna win. They're notoriously known to be blown out by the Knicks.
Always.
They won't be. I can see Jamal when the lights are the brightest. He's going to have a big game.
Yeah.
I can see Michael Porter having a big game. He's going to see a baddie in the corner. He's having a good game. Jokic, mediocre, lots of
Jokic likes playing
turnovers.
in New York though. He said that a
He,
lot.
I mean, he might like it, but he's going to have a lot of turnovers, and they're going to lose that game by 10 points.
Yeah. They're healthy too, so that's a tough game. At Philadelphia, who knows if
Win,
Embiid plays in that game?
win.
Win
Embiid play
probably
or not,
regardless.
win,
Okay, then they have Hornets at Charlotte,
win.
home versus New Orleans.
Is Zion playing or is he eating?
Doesn't matter. They're gonna beat them.
It does.
Brandon
Dude,
Ingram's
Zion
out.
makes a
Brandon Ingram's
difference.
out,
Okay, that's a
and he's
win.
not. I mean, he's missed. He missed the game 3 days ago, so who knows if he'll be playing. I'm gonna say they should win both of those games. I mean, they have back to back against New Orleans, home
So
and home.
one loss in the
Okay.
last, what was that, 5 games?
Yep. Home versus Orlando
Jalen Suggs is playing,
and Franz
I'm nervous.
Wagner is back as well. So
And Jalen,
that'll be a tough game.
That's a down to the wire game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give that one an L.
Okay. So we got two
Um, yeah,
at
I
Phoenix.
think Jamal doesn't have a good game.
Oh yeah, Jalen Suggs absolutely locks him up.
Yeah, he's such a. I would pay $10 to have Jalen Nuggets on
My
this way.
favorite thing I've ever done in NBA 2K is when Suggs was playing at Gonzaga. I drafted him on my Knicks team, and he was like my franchise point guard for the next 10 years, and I made him so good. He was
Got
like
him that
he was
max.
like winning the MVP.
Got him that
It was really
max.
fun. Nah, the story wasn't as good as I thought it would be, but it's fun. I like
I
Jalen
mean,
Suggs. I like Jalen Suggs.
I do too. I don't like his hairline.
Dude,
Rip.
gotta shave that. Gotta
Poor
shave
guy.
that.
Just let it go, man.
Gotta let it go.
Almost as bad as, okay, quick break. Anthony Carter's son, dude, plays on the Kings. Anthony Carter, throwback.
Devin Carter, man, what a guy!
What?
What a hairdo, man!
What? His hair is way worse than Jalen Suggs.
It's the worst I've ever seen. I
Oh my
cannot believe he
word.
walks around with that on his
And
head.
the fact that he's Anthony Carter's, whose head was
Do you
it
remember how much we hated
replicated a
Anthony
milk
Carter?
dud.
Do you
Like
remember
people
how
went
much
up
we
and
hated
licked,
that guy?
huh?
We
Yes,
hated Anthony Carter.
because
We
he would
hated
miss
him.
every shot he
Dude, he would
took.
he would do the freaking 20-footer mid-range pull-up and miss it every single
Shoot,
time.
shoot way behind his head.
Oh, that guy was miserable to watch.
And
Shout out to
the
Devin
only,
Carter making the NBA though. Good job, man.
yeah, that's crazy.
But
Shave your
Anthony
head,
Carter,
brother.
not my favorite.
This gets to
Not my
you,
favorite Nugget. Okay,
David.
so at
You're
at
cooler than me 'cause
Phoenix,
you're in the NBA.
at Phoenix,
Hmm.
tough game. They
That's the
lost. They
third.
lost to Phoenix
That's the
on
third. That's the
Christmas.
third L
All
of the
right,
stretch. I don't
all
care
right.
who else are playing.
Two in a
They're
row,
winning the West.
and then home versus Blazers, home versus Blazers, and
Yeah,
then after the break they have home versus Hornets, home versus Lakers, Pacers, Bucks, Pistons. I mean,
they'll lose one of those,
yeah. But
dude.
anyways, so
That's
so that puts them at, let's see. It was so 29, 30. I don't know.
it was 3 games.
Yeah, they lose 3 games. We
10 and
want to
3,
we want to try to get 40 wins before 20 losses.
and we need Memphis and Houston to lose.
They play each other coming up. So guaranteed
That's
loss
so
for at least
good.
one of them.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Um, quick side piece, dude. Cade Cunningham might Jokic when he retires. I think Cade might be my top 2, 3 favorite players.
I said this I tweeted that the
He
other
is
day. I was
pure
like, I don't
bucket.
know if there are 8 players in the league I would take over Cade Cunningham right now. He is,
Yeah,
dude, he's good at everything.
I liked that tweet because it was a good one.
It was a good one. I was getting some hate for it.
Dude, he is as pure a basketball player as there is. Smooth.
All right, man. I don't know how much of this we're going to be able to use. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, it was. That was
Yeah.
really fun, dude.
Yeah.
Gives us good energy. We got to do stuff. It's like you kind of dread the time to do it, and then
We
you
got
do
into
it,
a
and
good rhythm, though, after a
it
minute.
feels so good to do it. So we just got to keep doing it. I
Yeah.
got a boogie. I can't flick off my phone.
So I like doing player breakdowns. Here, we'll stop the recording.